Hey, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harding. Got a really good returning guest back on the show. But before then, let's get it. All right, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harding. Happy Saturday, June 7th. It's the first time I've done a podcast on a Saturday in a long time. So this was usually and normally my regular scheduled show on Saturday. So back doing some shows on Saturday, and so glad to be back, and glad to be back on a Saturday morning. You can follow the show on all the podcast platforms, whether it's Spotify, Apple, YouTube. We're on Spreaker. We're on Roku. You can follow on Roku, the BS3 Network, Roku channel. Download the app. Download the website, bs3tvlive.com. You can get all the programs there, all the shows there as well. Like I said, bs3tvlive.com, BS3 Network is where we are at. And you can follow me on all the social media platforms, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm also on Blue Sky, TikTok. So everything, you can follow the show on there. So I am not going to keep my guest waiting any longer. Glad to have her back. We did an Instagram live maybe a year ago, I think, or a year ago around this time. So it was only right I bring her back on. Of course, now she's podcast family, second time on the show. She's, like I said, not a guest anymore, podcast family. You come on more than once. So I have Richelle. She is a fitness coach for ex-athletes. Her bio is, get this, it says helping ex-athletes heal their relationship with sport, to drop 25 plus pounds and get athletic again while eating treats as well. But she's a fitness coach, nutrition. She does a little bit of everything. So Richelle, welcome back to the show. Unleash Your Athlete. You can follow her on Instagram there. Welcome back to the show. Really appreciate it.
Hello. Thank you for having me back, Courtney. It's a pleasure to be back on the podcast.
Yes, and I've been wanting to get you back for a little bit, and I said I got to reach out, and I said, okay, let me reach out now. And like I said, it gave us a full year from our last podcast we did, last episode, which I thought was great conversation. Just a conversation we had, and about fitness and running, and and getting back into sport and your love of sport and everything too. So I'm glad to do a part two with you. So thank you again for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yes, very excited to get this started.
Yeah, me too, for sure. All right. Well, how have you been over this year? I know we were talking a little bit this week, kind of just setting up the show and everything too. But even before we started recording, you said you've been very busy, and I've been seeing it on your Instagrams. If you follow Richelle Unleash Your Athlete on Instagram, you can tell like a lot of running. Like you said you help ex-athletes as a fitness coach and appointments and all those things. But how have you been this year, just in general, in 2025?
This year? Well, since we last spoke, I know we were talking about like what my next goals were for fitness. I think we did talk about High Rocks. So I've officially entered to my first High Rocks, and I'm currently for that.
Okay.
Right. So things are starting to get busy as well for me in a different training perspective. I'm normally a runner, so now I have to ramp up a little bit more of my strength. And I do have a lot of time. That competition will be in October. So hopefully this summer I'm going to increase my strength, and then I'll be prepared to do High Rocks. I'm also doing mixed doubles. So that involves heavier weights, because mixed doubles is male-female partnership.
Mm-hmm.
The women also have to be able to push as much as the men do. So that's going to be a challenge for me. And my partner that I'm competing with is thinking that we can place in the top 3. So we're going to go for it.
Go for the podium. Yeah, for sure. Okay, now I'm a big High Rocks fan, huge High Rocks fan. And me and my wife, we're looking forward to the High Rocks Championship, which is next week actually, in Chicago. So I'm looking forward to watching that as well. And I follow religiously with High Rocks. And now that you're entering in, so we got to dive into this a little more for sure.
Yeah.
So this is perfect timing. I'm glad I got you on. I know we talked about it briefly that you were thinking about doing High Rocks the last time we did talk. So now that you said, now you entered into it, how's that training been? Because you said you've done a lot of running and things like that, and now you're adding the strength component to it because of the stations that they have, 8 different stations. Talk about how that training has been, because transitions from running now to also in between each one, there's a heavy station or burpee broad jumps or something like that. So how's that training been?
Yeah. So I have a lot of friends in the fitness industry. I've attended some of their High Rocks specific classes just to see what I'm about to enter, the exercises. I'm not so familiar with it until this year. So I saw there's the wall balls, the really sled push, all that. So there's a lot of weight components that I'm not used to because all I've been doing is running. And I do some of the strength training, but I don't push very heavy weights. So I've been adding at least 2 strength workouts in there with High Rock specific movements that I'll incorporate towards the end of my workout. So let's say I do my strength training, my basic squats, deadlifts, lunges, and then at the end, I'm going to incorporate at least 2 to 3 High Rock specific movements. That way I'm prepared for competition day, because I'm sure I have the running down. It's just the strength that I really need to ramp up now.
Yeah, I love that. I love that for you too. Just like you said, just from that, the fitness world of it. High Rocks has become so popular. Like it's getting. I mean, it's getting very popular. And there's other fitness like CrossFit and other things. I know Deca Fit and Spartan, and there's a lot of different, and they're all different in their own way. But the way High Rock has really exploded over the last couple of years, and High Rock has been out for now, I think 10 years or so, maybe 8 to 10 years. I know at least for the least, but now how much it has exploded. So many people are participating in it and crossing over from CrossFit. You have some of the elites from CrossFit coming over, like a Tia Claire Toomey and others in this fitness, big names like that. What do you think of how much High Rock has exceeded, and now getting a lot more people to join and participate?
So yeah, I've noticed too that it's very trendy right now. Even the last year, everyone has been asking me to do High Rocks with them, but for some reason I kept saying no, because I guess my priorities were running. So I've seen it explode all over social media, and I do think it has some good components to it. And we'll talk about maybe like what's not so good about High Rocks exploding so much. But I think it's a great movement for people to become interested in exercise and fitness. It's a competition, so you can see it as friendly. So one of my motivations or drives to enter into the High Rocks is because of the competition. I'm naturally competitive. I don't think I'd ever do a solo, maybe in the future next year. But I really do like that I'm doing the mixed doubles and that I have a partner, and it's all about teamwork. So it's really great they have that option too, that you can work as a team or you can work solo, right? So that's awesome to get people more into exercise and finding ways that they can enjoy it. I like that it has the cardio component of I like the parts where it involves strength. So when people prepare for this competition, they get a nice full body workout, right? So it's not really excluding anything. And so that's the great part of it. And then the things that people should be careful about is High Rocks. If you don't have any guidance towards it, maybe you might get injured or you might push too hard, is what I'm finding from people that I know that are currently training for High Rocks and don't have so much understanding with exercise and fitness. Some people tend to push too hard. So as you know, athletes, we have this mentality that we just go hard, go home kind of thing. and we'll push super hard, and we might be more prone to injury. So there's also those kinds of risks as well that we
Yeah.
should be aware of. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's I mean, it's great points because you're right. I think with anything that goes with competition, fitness, using heavy, anything heavyweight or running extensively, and if you said you could push yourself too hard, you could, if you don't have like a discipline, I should say, on that part, you can if you can really either injure yourself or anything like that. But you said there's a balance, and we talked about that in the last one, a balance of when to push hard, when not to push hard, when to really. And I think that's hard for a lot of just athletes in general, especially when you're in a competition. And something like high rocks, like I said, over the years have continually to just explode, and with the community too, part of it. I've talked to some people that's done it just in fitness, not just high rock, but in fitness itself on here, and they talk about how accessible, especially something like high rock, how accessible that sport is to just an average person that wants to try to get into it, because you said you have the running, and you could do some of the things that they do, burpees and wall balls, things like that. If you have a sled, you can do sled push, sled pull. If you have one, you could do that as well. Sandbag lunge, you can do lunges. So there's elements of high rocks that you can really implement into your own fitness and training.
Yeah. So that's really great that it's pretty much covering everything, cardio,
Mm-hmm.
different movements as well. And I also like that there's jumping involved. So let's say there's somebody in the gym who's doing strength training, but they might not get that power, right? So jumping and plyometrics is really good exposure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about this just for an hour, just because, like I said, I'm a huge fan of the high rocks, that and everything too. I'm just finding it so fascinating over the last couple of years how many CrossFit athletes and how they're intertwined. And then there's differences, and we see differences between like a CrossFit or in a high rocks and just as I said, running. CrossFit doesn't have, they do run, but there's not as much running as like high rock. High rock is there's running in between each station. And like there's a station and then there's more running. There's a station running, 8 stations, and then the run in between. And it's the same workouts each and every time. Nothing's changed on it. So I think that's another thing that's very consistent with the high rocks competition and training. So you said your competition is in October, and you said how has the training has it been? I know you said it's a little different, but has it been a little bit more challenging for you, or is it just more? But even though you've been doing this for the running and all the fitness for a long time, what's some of the challenges that has been to get prepared for the high rocks competition?
Yeah. So I guess I'm so used to running a lot, just building up my strength. I haven't really lifted anything over 150 pounds in a couple of months. So searched up how much the sled pushes and pulls would have to be. It's over 300 pounds. So I have to really get up there, hopefully in the next 2 months. But my goal is to do it safely as well. Because
Yeah.
as an athlete, in the past, I have pushed so many times that I've injured myself. I don't want to tear any muscles or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's so easy for me to break my body and push. So I also have to remind myself to calm down, maybe take a look at periodization in the programming. So starting small and then increasing the weights over time, making sure I also give my body some rest in between during the training, maybe every 4 to 6 weeks, just to take the weights down a little bit more. That way my body can recover. So I think the challenge is getting myself into the gym to push more weights because I'm not used to it. And what's really helping is knowing that I have that date, the competition date. So that's the goal date that I would need to be able to push all that weight, clear that weight. So because I have that specific date in October, I am more motivated to get into the gym. The gym is not my favorite place, but so that's one of the struggles too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right. Just staying motivated, going into the gym. As long as I've known you for over the last year. You said like I running, and that's always been my thing. Just get outside and do a lot of running. But now you said going out to the gym. You said not your favorite thing to implement into your regimen. That's
Mhm.
that's funny.
Yeah. So more time, I guess a little bit more time in the gym as well will be, yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, well, best of luck on yeah, definitely keep me posted on the. Maybe I'll have you on maybe before your competition just to see.
Okay.
All right, so we'll or maybe after something like that. Maybe I'll have you after you do the competition. We'll set up something for October, see how how you did. But
Yeah.
yeah, keep me posted on the process of it too. 'Cause
Yeah.
I find it fascinating. When you're getting ready for a competition and you said it's the mixed doubles that you're doing. You said you got to have that, partner that's you said it's a give and take thing and being on the same page. And how's that going? Like you said, the partnership, because if you're doing a mixed doubles, you definitely got to be on the same page. Uh, know your strengths and weaknesses, what you're good at or better at, and what that your partner's good in and are better at too, and finding different ways. You got to have definitely chemistry. But how's that partnership going?
Yeah. So the partner that I decided to sign up Hyrox with is somebody I've ran with in elementary school across
Okay.
days. So it's I we've just reconnected through I guess sport, actually, through
Yeah.
Hyrox. They noticed that I'm still active after all these years, and then they reached out. So sometimes we'll go out we've only done bike rides and cardio, not so much strength training yet. So we got to kind of meet up and see what our strengths are in the high rock specific movements. That way we're able to distribute the exercises on competition day and no one is actually struggling. That way we can achieve our goal of hopefully reaching the podium top 3 kind of thing. So we
Yeah.
plan on meeting up and seeing how we can work together. Right now we do run together, so communication is fine. We cheer each other on. I think that's really helpful, having a supportive team, just making
Yeah.
sure that we have each other's backs and no one's going to be aggressively with each other. We're all just going to support each other and help each other get through to the end. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. I love it. I love it. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys do. And and you said your goal is to podium. The goal is to finish, but I'm sure that
That's
you
crazy.
said yeah, yes. And and you said
Yeah.
you're very, always love competition. So it is interesting too, because I hear a lot of, I've interviewed other athletes, and they talk about, you have fun doing it and everything too, but we all know as either ex athletes or just in competition. You get in competition with a lot of different people. It's only natural that, okay, we're gonna go out there and try to win. And I mean that's always the goal, or at least to get in the top, whatever. Yeah, your goal is. And just in general, you could do something like, say, like a 10K, but you say, I want to do my best and I want to be up there at the top. That's just a natural thing. It just, he said, you're ex-athlete. You want to, you're still in competition mode.
Yeah, both of us are ex-athletes, so it's
Yeah.
great. Once once we start the competition, I'm sure we're gonna put our best effort in there. We won't leave anything behind. So
Yeah.
very excited to keep you updated on like the training and how it actually
Okay.
goes.
I look
So
forward to it.
yeah, it will be done by the first weekend of October.
Okay, yes, I look
Early
forward
October.
to early October. We'll definitely we'll connect. We talk a little bit on Instagram anyway, so I'll definitely reach out just to see how and check in and see how you're doing on your journey. Look forward to seeing that your journey. But like you said, once you step on the competition floor, you're thinking, okay, we're coming to take
Yeah.
names and try to win at the end. Yes, it's fun, fun and games. So we step on that floor, and then now, okay, it's go time. It's go time. Because I told you I do kickboxing, and even though it's not a competition, it's just but me and my wife do it together, and we look at each other. We look at the others that are doing the training and stuff. We're like, okay, we got to finish when they give us an assignment. We got to finish, try to be the first ones to finish or the top to finish, even though it's not competition, but it's just a natural thing, I guess, when if you're a competitive person.
I think it's fun too, like the competition. It just naturally comes to us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
friendly competition for sure. But now then when you get into like, really competition, it's like, yes, it's friendly, but then it's like you said, it's go time.
Yeah.
It's always about, as you said, take names and all those things, but you're doing it in just in a friendly competition way. So for
Mhm.
sure. Anything else you're working on, you've been up to, besides, your, high rocks training, things like that. How's the, being, fitness coach, how's that been going, for you?
Yeah. So same thing as last time as we spoke. I guess the only different thing with my fitness coaching, I still do target those ex athletes because I resonate the most with them and find that we can help each other out on their journey. Some things have changed on my page. I'm trying to show a little bit more of my training and what I actually do. And I find
Yeah.
that sharing parts of that is also inspiring other athletes that I might have known in the past, maybe my former teammates. I've been working really hard in my marathon training. So that also just happened in, I believe, April. No, it happened in May, the beginning of May. And because I've shared so much of that journey, I've inspired a lot of more runners. So it's
Mm.
really great working more with people who come from cardio background. I love to work with other runners as well. So we can like chat about that. So I did my last marathon and I Boston qualified. So I'm also working towards running the Boston Marathon next year in April. So lots of projects for me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you say you got October, you got next April with the Boston Marathon. Talk about how that's been going on, and like congratulations on qualifying too. I know that was a goal of yours as well. I know you talked about that before, but talk a little bit about how that's training's going, and that I'm sure that's different type of training, because that's just cardio and running. That's a different type of training than the strength. How do you balance that out?
Balance out the running and
And like for high rocks too, like you said, you have high rocks, and you're doing
uh,
the Boston Marathon too.
yeah,
That's another type
I-
of, I'm sure, of balance.
yeah. So during my marathon training, I was already doing 2 to 3 times strength training, which
Okay.
an hour. And then let's say some of my runs were 3 hours. And then I have my other runs that take an hour. That's a lot of hours of training.
Yeah.
Already been implementing 2 to 3 times of strength training. But now the difference that I'm going to be doing is just increasing the weight, which I think it's going to be similar training. I'm going to have to train my body to be able to run long distances and also manage that weight, very heavy weight, right? So I think that's the challenge. The only things that I've been noticing is probably a bit more fatigue. I know I'm an
Mm,
endurance based runner, but a lot of the strength training is affecting my nervous system and making me feel a little bit more fatigued. So it's going to take time for me to adjust to those weights. So I think the trick here is just making sure that I get small bouts of strength and I don't have to specifically stay in the gym for that 1 hour. There are some shortcuts. Everyone think, not everyone, a lot of people do think when they're coming into fitness is that you have to spend hours in the gym to see
yeah.
progress. But there are some shortcuts that you can take. And the number one thing that you want to focus on is consistency, which I've been very consistent. I train week to week. It's just managing the load. So that's what I'm going to be careful with, managing the load from with
Right.
running and the strength. Yeah.
I like that, and I think that you're right. I think when people want to get into the gym, or they want to get to, get back into working out, or start working out, I think they feel like, oh yeah, I got to go into the gym and for hours, or hours and hours on hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, and for some that works great for some, but each day, but that's a lot of that is a lot. So I like what you said about kind of just balancing it out, and doing little by little each time, but enough to because you said when you're burnt out and tired, you can't do anything at that time. As you said, you feel fatigue. You're gonna feel some fatigue, but if you really push it enough, you're gonna really feel fatigue, and that's not great either because you're always fatigued. Even when you go the next day, you're fatigued. Even trying to lift weights or even get into running or anything like that. It's you're right. It's there is, I'm sure, like you said, over your journeys, like you say, you've learned different ways to kind of scale back a little from this and scale back a little from that, but or sometimes going all out one day and then taking a day or two off. So breaks help. It matters.
Mhm. It really does. Yeah. So without recovery, we won't be able to get the strength
Mm,
adaptations or any type of fitness adaptations that we're working towards. So even for people that I work with, that's what I stress about as athletes or returning ex athletes coming back into sport. They have that mindset mentality where they need to train 6 or 7 times a week, right? So maybe it'd be great for others to start from 3 times a week and then cycle through.
yeah. And then you can, the more you're in, the more you're into, the fitness and training, the more you get into it, the more you can increase that time, or just to continue to. You're right. It takes a little bit of time before you just. I think we like to, when you start something new, you like to go all out in the beginning, and then you burn yourself out. Right, that first couple of weeks, you're like, why am I so tired? But yeah, I think that's a very important. Recovery is very important,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Just I got one more, so I just want to ask you about if someone was to, you know, get into, any type of fitness, or they wanted to, train for a marathon, train for a 10K, train for high rocks or something like that. How would you help them? How would you tell them where to start, how to begin? Because a lot of people think, okay, I want to train for high rocks. Find this fascinating. I've been watching it, I've been seeing it. I want to train for this. Even if they're an ex-athlete, or they are an athlete, or they are into, fitness or anything like that, or they're just a beginner, they want to start. What would you tell them?
So let's say this person is a beginner, or maybe they're an ex athlete who hasn't worked out for, let's say, 3 years, and
Yeah.
they're really starting from scratch again. You would want to start to build up your cardio base. So maybe going for some easy jogs. That could be even 10 minutes of running, 15 minutes of running, and be consistent. So that could be 2 or 3 times a week. So it's a very small number. You heard 10 or 15 minutes, very small. So something manageable. And then in the gym, I would tell them to break down the movements of the, let's say if it's high rocks, we have wall balls. That's a squat movement and a combination of a shoulder press. So before we're going to combine those two together, we would break it down. So I prescribe squats and then seated shoulder press or standing shoulder press, getting the basic strength first. So once they're able to achieve something small, let's say the 10 to 15-minute run, they can do a couple squats and a couple shoulder presses and some other exercises related to high rocks, but in its most basic format. Then that way they can increase their strength and their confidence. And once they build that strength, we go on to the next phase. And maybe that's when, maybe in 2 or 3 months, we start to combine those two movements of the squat and the shoulder press into the actual wall ball. Right?
Okay.
Something
Uh,
like that's the smartest approach I have. That way nobody's going to get injured, right? You
mhm.
too much too soon and you're wondering why you have shin splints or why your back is hurting, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I had to start from. I don't remember when I quit running, but I did stop running for a full year, which is a very long break for me. And then in the last year and a half, I've been running every week, 5 times a week. And right now, I currently run around 85 to 100 kilometers a week, which is
Wow.
a lot. It's a lot for me coming from zero, having to rebuild that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's like that. You said, like it's like almost like muscle memory. You got back into it, but you said it. Yeah, you said on the last one too. You did say that not running for a year it took some time to get back into it, but now that you're fully back into it, I'm sure you got your joy and more and fun and like you said, competition, and then back into fitness as well. Anybody that the last one, anybody that you've with High Rocks, I could talk forever, but anything with High Rocks that you got into, that you look, that you've watched and you've seen, any athletes that you I'm gonna say, I guess I do that, any athletes you admire or that you've come about. It could be someone from the elite or anything like that. Anybody that's that you've had your eyes on, that you're like, hey, I like how their fitness is heading in, like when they're heading into competition.
Yeah. So I've just been watching a lot of High Rocks content online. I don't know so much about the athletes, but I'm
Okay, yeah.
very intrigued in the way that they move. So I've been studying, like, let's say how low they squat or their technique for the sled
Mhm.
push and pulls. I'm learning off of them. So I'm studying how the top competitors in High Rocks perform and move. That way I can mimic it and train like them and hopefully execute really well on High Rocks competition day.
No doubt, yes, yes. So some of the big elites, Meg Jacoby, Lauren Weeks. I mean, Lauren Weeks is a three-time world champion, and Meg Jacoby's the reigning champion. So I'm really, like I said, I'm looking forward to the world championship this next week, actually. But Richelle, thank you again for the time on this Saturday morning. Really appreciate it. And I'm not sure if you have anything going on today, maybe some more training, maybe, but I really appreciate just giving me a little bit of your time on this, like on a Saturday morning. Thank you again. But let everyone know where they can follow you on social media, follow your journey, and like I said, we'll do this. We'll do this again during your race at High Rocks. We'll talk about a little bit of the after and your recovery and how the competition went. But let everyone know where they can follow you.
Okay, great. I'm mostly active on Instagram. My handle is Unleash Your Athlete. Just very plain, Unleash Your Athlete. And I'll be documenting my journey mostly on my stories. I do post almost daily. And I'm going to be creating some reels of behind the scenes actual High Rocks training and how I've been training for it. Be very cool to see what happens on competition day. I'll also be vlogging competition day. We got months.
All right. Like I said, looking forward to that. The behind the scenes and, you're documenting that the competition and you're heading into that. So again, thank you again. Really appreciate you and best of luck with all the things you got going on, the marathon and High Rocks. So looking forward to talking to you again.
Yes. Thank you for having me, Courtney.
All right. You have a good one. Enjoy the summer and
Was-
not too much. I know you're doing all your training and stuff, but enjoy the summer outside of that too. I'm sure you
Yeah.
will, but
Yeah.
all right. Well, I'll talk to you again. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.